pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if you're following along on the program, the first order of business today is a public hearing on a proposed local law for the town of Liberty. The local law, please take notice that there has been introduced before the town board of the town of Liberty in the county of Sullivan, introductory local law number 5 of the year 2013, entitled "A Local Law Amending the Zoning of the Town of Liberty, New York, to define destination resort and revised planned unit development provisions." And if anybody's here who would like to speak on that topic, this is the time. You don't need to open it, it's open, right?
You just did.
Good. So we'll wait a few minutes, and the meeting, our official meeting doesn't start till 4 o'clock as advertised, so.
Get you deer.
No.
You get it? No. Better come up my yard and get it.
The only thing that came close to me was a 4-pointer and a dog. I had no permits for either of that. I was telling
Well, it'd be nice to have my copy.
Albert
Do you have a copy of the agenda?
Thanksgiving Day.
I have a copy of
We're
the
all
agenda.
over
Is it on the
his house
agenda?
having
No.
Thanksgiving dinner. Sitting down at the table, and him and just point walks right up to the back.
Was it
of the house,
advertised?
Stands under the apple tree.
It
We're
was
like,
on the bulletin board.
On the
the only one in the house did with the gun was Michaela.
The public hearing on the demolition of the building.
What time did it go?
Same
It
thing.
was on the
I
bulletin
had
board,
3
so
bucks right outside my kitchen window at one
it was
time.
advertised.
You come in the village.
Well, let's open that one too.
Okay, is there a time?
Carol.
3:50? Same time? Could open the other one.
Or just put the one in the veins if somebody strangles out, you could hear them closing both.
We could get till 55. That's open. And then we could go to break.
On this one, yeah.
It'd be nice if Supervisor got copies.
Remember it was a bar shot and just got into the skin or
Get
something?
it to the clerk.
Amazing.
Right?
Lori advertised.
I got
Yeah,
that.
Lori had it. But it didn't make it onto the agenda
If we get a lot of
and didn't make it
stuff, I don't think they'll make it through.
for the supervisor.
They'll just stay in the village and you on shrubs.
Yeah.
Not your
Well,
problem.
they got them all even already. Unless I put a step ladder on. You should see him eat spaghetti.
Really?
Funny as hell.
I would not
I
expect
threw it out there. They fight over it.
Wow. Well, it's carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've read all the health news.
Did you drink weekend? I see in the paper the other day.
You wanna send a truck in to see if he says
We're having a public hearing right now on local number 5, if anybody had any comments.
Wow. But you can't. Yeah, they have the 3-point vote. Yeah, that was the smartest thing to do.
You can see it. You can see it. When you started that, you can see it. I mean, everything else, except, you know, here's, go to his little. You can see that it's the bottom.
Didn't take long either. No taker today. We have some poaching activity. No taker today.
That's a long minute, isn't it? There it is. We got a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Tom, seconded by Dean. All in favor?
Aye.
We have another public hearing that was scheduled for 3:50, and it's 3:55 now, so we'd like to hold that hearing. It's on an unsafe building. It was posted, and there's an affidavit of posting here as of October 23rd. Please take notice that a hearing will be held before the Town of Liberty Town Board on the second day of December 2013 at 3:50 at the Liberty Town Hall, 120 North Main Street. Pursuant to provisions of Chapter 64 of the Code of the Town of Liberty concerning a building and/or structure situated at 2 Stanton Corners, Swan Lake, which buildings or structures have been deemed to be dangerous and unsafe to the public by the Town of Liberty Code Enforcement Officer. The above described premises, also known as Town of Liberty, County of Sullivan Tax Map Parcel Section 47, Block 4, Lot 2 is presently owned, according to the last preceding assessment roll of the Town of Liberty, and by the record of the Office of the Clerk of Sullivan County of Swan Lake, by Swan Lake Gardens 2, LLC of 173 Wallabout Street, Brooklyn, New York. So this is a hearing. The aforementioned time and place, and members of the Town Board of the Town of Liberty will hear all interested parties to consider evidence related to the Town of Liberty's Code Enforcement Officer's determination as to the dangerous and or unsafe condition of the aforementioned premise, and whether the Town Board's order of September 16, 2012 to demolish the building and or structures be affirmed, modified, or vacated. So we're here to hear if anybody wants to say that it is or isn't, as far as the Code Enforcement Officer's determination of that being an unsafe building. And that public hearing is now open.
That's the same one we've been talking about all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
We got all the way up until we got much further on the agenda, and they were going to fix the building, and nothing ever transpired over the summer. So here we are doing it all over again.
It's a hearing, I might want to hear.
Yeah. Good thing nobody can.
I put 2 hearing aids in, so I won't miss any.
Get it stereo that way.
I just want to introduce you all to Isaac, the film, will be filming the town board meetings.
Hello.
That's twice as long as
What's he filming? Nothing
Have a
going on?
card trick or something to do, so at least he's getting something on the camera.
I bring my banjo next time, but it's hard because I can't do it with my hand. You could sing Christmas carols or something.
Get the Yule log.
How you gonna play the tuba?
Hey, front porch Friday night. I'll be playing the tuba.
Your hands will get cold then.
Supposed to rain.
So that's why I'm on the porch.
Put him on the ambulance corps building. No heat. He took his ambulances and left.
If you want.
Bring it up to
I just wanted to fill the
China.
board in.
No heat. And he offered to buy the
Everybody's
building.
indulgence.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got 4 o'clock, which will open the town board meeting at 4 o'clock.
And he said,
Um,
take that off and I'll put it in.
I just noticed that Avi came in from the,
Right.
Don't we have to have
Ambulance?
somebody
Sure.
close this?
if you just, there was some discussion about the ambulance corps. I don't know if you just wanted to fill us in on
Sure,
the
more than
changes.
happy to address any questions anyone
We
has.
need,
Okay.
we need to close the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion to close. Tom, seconded by Chris. All in favor?
Right.
Aye. So the public hearing is closed. So we did 2 public hearings tonight. Now,
Okay. Now?
yeah,
I want to thank you, Mr. Supervisor, for calling me today.
introduce yourself and
My name is Albie Bachman. I'm the CEO of Mobile Medic EMS, and we are your EMS provider for the town of Liberty. I received a phone call today from your supervisor, and I thank you for that. Saturday was our last day in the old Town of Liberty Volunteer Ambulance Corps building. And apparently, I think the supervisor got some phone calls with some concerns about our response time, that us not being directly inside the village. I wanted everybody to know that we are in the village. Nothing has changed as far as the service is concerned. This was a business decision by myself and our board dealing with that building, which has respectfully, some issues. We are operating out of our North Main Street facility, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As you know also, proud to say that we purchased property inside the town of Liberty out in Ferndale. That is our headquarters, by the way, and that is our main facility, which we all report to. Paramedics get their necessary equipment, medications, narcotics, and we disperse our ambulances from there and station ourselves here in Liberty, as well as at Ferndale. So I wanted to make sure that if there are any questions that I can address, more than happy to answer them, and not to be concerned. We have not missed a call. Our response times are the same. And also a backup station in Loch Sheldrake. So we have you covered on both ends, actually. So I just wanted to make sure that if there are any questions, I'm here to answer them.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, you got it?
Nope, that's all my questions I had. We
Good.
had
Where in Ferndale?
Next to UPS on Radcliffe, just about 20 seconds down on the right. We purchased the old Kleinberger
Mm-hmm.
building,
Okay.
and that is our operations headquarters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to do our department heads meeting now, and we'll start right at the top with the assessor.
Hello, everybody. Happy holidays. Do you want me to read everything that was on my report, or just kind of, if you have any questions, let me know in between? Basically, some of my top ones is Hurricane Sandy. That was something that we've been the state made new legislation that we can do a local option, and it will actually go back to the January 2013 tax roll for town and county, and it would give individuals a better tax break for that one tax bill. No one in the county has opted into it. They've already been taken care of on the 2013 assessment roll. Sorry, Dean, I can't see you in between. So we've already made those adjustments, but what the state's trying to do is to help them out a little bit better on the 2013 roll. They haven't done it for Irene. This is, something new that came through, but it is a local option. I just wanted to let you know.
It's still a local option.
It's still a local option,
But Kathy's
but-
recommendation is that, not to go into it, but it was only 2 parcels, I think, and
Yeah, there was only 2 parcels that were involved, and the one house on Lewis Street was demolished because of it, and the one house up on Dwyer Avenue is still under repairs,
yeah.
so they're getting the break at least until next year's assessment roll.
But what it does is they, for Sandy happened in 2012, in
October.
the late,
September.
yeah. And it would be going back to forgiving their changing their assessment for that year.
Just, no, for the January county tax roll. Because of the time frame. Because
And
it
the
happened
January
in
was for
September,
2013.
it was 2013.
So they didn't have a house, they paid taxes on it for 2013. I didn't know if it was a big deal to opt into it, or,
You can do it by local laws, I understand it.
Yeah, resolution
And we would only be affecting the town portion of the tax bill, because the county's not opting into it, school district is
Village.
not opting, and the
Right.
village isn't, from everything we've heard so far. So it would, you know, unfortunately, if you felt that you wanted to do it, it would be a nice gesture, but it would probably be a token in terms of the economic impact of it for the taxpayer, because our town portion tends to be the smallest portion
Right,
Well,
of the tax bill.
one house is gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
right,
he hasn't lived in it since that bridge pole broke.
right.
One in the village?
Well, over here on,
Yeah, it's
West Street.
West Street.
West Street.
Hinkleman's
yeah.
house.
Hinkleman's.
So another one on Dwyer, he hasn't lived in any, since it's still sitting there, but it's not that now.
Hopefully they're gonna be working on to it. Other than that, I mean, we're busy. We're trying to get our star, letters into the mail for the people who have qualified. So that's gonna be happening within the next 2 weeks. Now we're gonna drum up, getting ready to send out senior citizens exemptions. And, just very busy time of year for us.
I know.
Kenny, did you want to do executive session on that court case?
Didn't we already talk
First.
about that?
I don't know if we actually talked to the board about it.
I may not have, then we should, yes.
Okay, then I would like to request
I know you, Charlie, and I talked
an
about it.
executive session for a court case. Pending litigation. And besides that, that's about all I have.
I just wanted to use this opportunity as a reminder to everybody about the regular star, that it's not going through you this year, or you have to register
They have
on
to
the-
re-register with the state.
with the state.
Right, and, postcards for reminders have just been sent out, so people are coming into my office. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't help you out, you have to go through either, the internet or a telephone call. I haven't gotten the final list. When that final list comes through, I'm sure at that point, if I know somebody that shouldn't be on the list, they still will have ample time to apply for up to 2014.
I was just surprised, because some of the other townships, the people have gotten letters. I didn't get a letter telling me to go online, a personal letter regarding my property.
Well, it's not addressed to Mr. Barbuti. It's
No.
gonna be to homeowner and the address. You
Yeah.
should have gotten one with a star code and
Because it
everything
gave
on
you your
it.
code number, it gives you a code on there in order to be able to go in and register, but you can go on without the letter.
Yes.
They also give you the code, but
Yeah,
everybody,
but everyone's supposed to have a letter.
but if you didn't do it, I mean, and you have to do it, you're not gonna get your star, the regular star.
The basic star. So, I'm gonna be on top of that when the time comes, when I get that report from the state, just to make sure that everyone that does deserve it, is not gonna lose out on it. And then I think the rumor is next year they're gonna attempt to do it again for newly applied applications. So, and then I imagine down the road it's gonna be the enhanced star, and hopefully one day the state will take it over and we won't have to bother with it.
Okay, any other questions for Kathy? Thank you. Highway Superintendent, Tim.
Oh, we've been a little busy, keeping up with Mother Nature. We had to work 4 or 5 hours on Thanksgiving and the night before, and there was a couple of little storms on Veterans Day, I think it was that weekend. But we're all ready for winter. We got the bridge open on Aiden Road. That's all completed. They came out nice. DC was happy with it. We had to give the village a hand. They had a major sewer main break. Well, they were trying to put in a lateral, and nothing went right. It was deeper than they thought, and it was old sewer lines, so we had to give them a hand doing that for a couple days. And other than that, we're just, weather stays mild like this week, and start cutting brush, doing stuff like that. We got a few ice conditions to fix, and other than that, everything's going pretty good.
Good. Any questions for Tim?
Don't forget to update the highway map that you made earlier this year.
I keep forgetting right now. I was gonna bring it down today. I told Charlie, I made a separate map because it was just easier.
Okay.
That's all done. It sits right on the counter. Actually, I gotta come down and see Cheryl Wednesday and talk to Earl about the fuel bids. That's another thing. I tried calling Teddy today, Earl, and I didn't get a hold of him.
There was a question about fuel bid, and our bid is you can have it with or without kerosene. But Maravolo bid is they're coming in terminal with kerosene added, so that doesn't meet the specs. So if the highway superintendent has the option to go to the next lower bid, that will supply it according to the bid specs. So, but it's up to the highway superintendents. Ted from the town of Rockland was very upset about that, and he's going to the next lower bid. But if any of the highway superintendents that are in that bid, that's their option, because if it doesn't meet the bid specs, because it comes out of a terminal in Binghamton, it's already added when it gets down here in Sullivan County, so.
Yeah, actually, I got a Highway Superintendent Association meeting Wednesday, so now I'll probably talk to all of them then and see what everybody else is gonna do.
Their responsibility is to whether, you need to determine whether it meets the bid specs or not.
So, and that's where we stand with that, so.
Huh?
If they're gonna do what they say they're gonna do with all the kerosene, cause the kerosene is like another 45 cents a gallon, and all the kerosene's not good for the trucks either. We'll probably go to the next bidder, which is, County Petroleum. If they don't want.
Check with him, Tim, I think he does the same thing.
I did. He contacted with me as soon as they heard. And he said no, he wouldn't do that. He would honor his bid price of the right mixture. So. Yeah, he contacted me as soon as Teddy heard about the kerosene they were mixing into it. And so what they did is they bid price their kerosene 45 cents a gallon more than County Petroleum, and that's where they're making their price up on their diesel fuel bid. Where County Petroleum didn't bid as high on the kerosene, so they lost the bid. So they're not adding as much kerosene as the other company,
But they are adding, aren't they?
they're adding a little bit. Yeah, you need a little bit. You have to cut it a little bit, but
Otherwise they'll coagulate it.
yeah, otherwise you'll gel up. But you can't put as much in as they are because it's not kerosene's not lubricant for the engine. The
I
fuel
don't know,
pumps.
Earl told me that the warranty, it might even void a warranty.
Oh, yeah.
Turn it in there.
You have to look.
So, I have a meeting Wednesday afternoon. I'll go to and see what the consensus is with everybody and go from there.
Did we get the 45-mile speed limit
Yeah,
signs?
Just got them last Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. We got 'em. Just got 'em.
And the 30-mile Parksville one is?
Yeah, they're there. We'll get them.
Okay. Just gonna keep hearing until we get them in there, so, because I keep hearing from everybody. Anything else, Tim? Okay, thanks, Tim. Albert?
Okay, I gave you my department head agenda, and I'll just touch base quickly going up and down it. Mountain View Meadows, they had a contractor and they're working. They made all the repairs that the rural water and the town water and sewer department told them to. We're gonna monitor the situation. Spoke to Mr. Pacone, emailed Mr. Pacone today, advising him that we were happy with the work that was done, and we will, if we find a problem spot now with the camera, we'll jump right on it and see if we can pinpoint it and address it with him, and seems to be he's working with us now. The RBC upgrade in Swan Lake is only 30 days away. There's no building there. There's no concrete work. Spoke to Terry this morning. We got to get moving. The grant money's spent, but we still have an obligation to satisfy the DEC with the December 31st deadline. Catskill Harvest.
Well, we got that. 2 months on
We got December 31st is our deadline to have the thing turned on. The final thing is 2 months, but we got a December 31st deadline. That was the September 30th deadline that we extended, and then then the old December.
to get it approved by December? Okay.
We got, if we can't, if this thing isn't gonna be up and running on December 30th or 31st, we need to know that soon, because we're gonna have to go back to the DEC and get an extension of that deadline, so.
Terry's very disgusted with
man.
the whole thing. Apparently, they pulled out, went away for 2 weeks, they knew nothing, but they're back there today, so.
I thought you told me we got a 2-month extension of each,
Yeah, we did.
of when to have it completed and when to get our DEC
Right, and the
approval.
completion one went to December 30th, and then the final one went to February 28th.
I didn't know that. I talked.
We'd asked for 3, we only got 2.
I asked Terry today, he was in the office here today, and he said December 31st. I didn't know if there was a 2-month extension.
No, not of that one. That we had gotten an extension. That was the one that had to be originally September 30th, and we got that extended 3 months to get us to the end of of December.
You're
And
not
then the
gonna
secondary
come
one was
31st.
originally a December 31st deadline, we got that extended to February.
Terry and put fire on them.
And find out from them, I mean, realistically, I mean, if they're not gonna, if they can't absolutely guarantee that this thing's gonna be running on December 31st or December 30th, we need to know that, cause I gotta go back to DEC
I
and
think
ask
we
them
should
for
go
more
ask
time.
him anyway, because it takes us 3 months to get back to the.
But I'd like to
lady
get,
at the
I'd like to get
DEC.
something from the contractor in writing saying they're not gonna be able to meet that deadline and some reason why, so I can give that to them. And show that this is on them, not us.
Now, do you have that, the thing in writing from the DEC?
Yes.
You can send that to me, because I didn't
Yes,
see the
yes.
actual,
I'll scan it, I'll send it to you tomorrow.
send that line, something from the contractor to
Yeah, I
ask for
think so.
another. All right, Albert, next on
Catskill
your list.
Harvest, plant shop up there across the street from the town barn, they had a leak on their water line, and we've been after them. They finally made repairs. A lot of water that the Loomis Water District purchased went to the leak, so I'm interested in getting your guys' input, how we want to address this. Do we want to bring Will in and discuss lost water with them, or do we want to start metering him at the master pit up on the old Loomis Road? There's a couple different scenarios here. I don't really feel that the Loomis Water District should be responsible after we notified him that he had a leak and he drug his feet, so.
So they've still not fixed.
He fixed it. Well, we're not 100% sure that was the only leak, so we're monitoring it on a daily basis now. He only fixed it last Tuesday, 6 days ago, so. But,
I think it should be monitored at the pit. He's the only user off of that.
he's the
pit
only
now.
user off that now, so by having a master meter up on the road, we can bill him at that point. He has a meter in each building, so we can actually tell how much water is going into the two buildings, and that's how we figure out the loss of water. But he should be responsible for fixing it. There's a lot of scenarios, though. The meter pit used to be up on Coddington's lawn up on the Loomis Road, which now is owned by Alan Gary. The water line, I don't even think there's an easement there. It's just back 30 years ago, somebody gave permission to dig a water line down through his yard, and now if he has to go up to the meter pit and get it, would he have to get an easement from Mr. Gary to get on his property? And so there's a lot of complications here, so. I don't know what to do, and whatever you guys decide you want to do with it, I can address it with Will Foster, or we can bring him in, and Charlie, bring him in someday, and we'll discuss our options and see what he wants to do. Does he want to replace the line, meter in his buildings, or use the master meter as a billing purpose for his property?
From a financial point of view, I like to see the master meter.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
yes.
Whatever goes through that, he pays for, after it goes through there.
That's the way I feel about it.
That's my feeling, because then we know, since we're buying that water
Yeah.
from, well, eventually from Sherwood Wells through Swan Lake through Route 55, and Loomis pays it when it goes into their system, so he should pay when it goes through, out of his meter, and wherever it goes from there, that's his
That's his
responsibility.
So do you want me to address it with a letter from the water department, or you want to
You
address
guys
it as a
let-
supervisor?
Well, you'd have all the details.
Yeah.
You better write the letter.
I'll
Yes.
take care of it, I'll draft it, I'll come in and get approval, see if that's the way he's wanted to word it, and I'll send it to him, and then we'll see what happens after that.
He doesn't wanna hook up to the main on 52 now, or?
He had the option, at that time he didn't want to, so Time Warner moved their water line down to their property, and now he'd have to go on their property to get Time Warner's water. He had the option 3 years ago. He decided he couldn't afford it at that time. It would have been a shared thing between Time Warner Cable and him to pay for that water line to come down that Time Warner built on the other side of the road by the town barn. Moving on. The Sullivan County Cooperative Extension, they applied for a tap, we made the tap, they're happy, I got the check, I'm happy, everybody's happy there. The Roth Sherwood Well, I gave you guys a memo. We have some money in our budget now, and some money that we'd like to spend next year on putting monitoring equipment in the well, so we know how much water's in the aquifer, when we're drawing it too hard, when the well case, when the screen in the well is starting to plug up and give us a problem. It's a very important piece of equipment. We were forced to put it in when we were trying to change our permitting in Stevensville. We ended up putting a well monitor in to measure the level of the water and stuff, so I spoke to Earl. We have some money in this budget, some money in next year's budget to complete it. The gentleman I picked to do this has done work for us before, and I'd like to see if the board can give me approval to proceed with this. You know, with the Grossiers talking about coming alive and all this, we need to know exactly what we're doing, what we're not doing. Not that the Grossiers is gonna make a big deal, but it makes our job easier to know when there's a well going bad. So,
Do you wanna do that now, or?
Yeah, good safety.
Let's do that now.
Go for it.
Board's approval to go ahead with that, your motion? Seconded by Dean, to go ahead with them.
okay, then I'll talk to Earl on Wednesday and, or Thursday, and we'll notify the gentleman, we'll sign a contract with him, and we'll use some of this year's money and some of next year's money, yep. Yeah, I asked him to call you to just to take any of the questions out of it.
I see, Sarah, did you, no, just state that in a sentence, that the motion that was made about what you plan on doing with the White Sulphur
Well
well.
monitoring,
We're gonna
for sure, well, the rock.
just.
We don't have to go to bid with this or anything?
Albert and I talked, because basically, if we go to bid, we gotta hire an engineer to come in. Now, part of his is for material, a majority of it is for professional services, installing this and in monitoring. So we could get questions. I would argue that this is a professional service because this is a technical type of operation put in there. Now, part of it is the monitors, but I would say we can go, and people could say I'm wrong, but that's my opinion. So,
We'd have to put a set of specifications together and bid it out and all that, and I don't even know if there's anybody other than this gentleman. He's done work for us before, and the type of work he does is it's reliable, and he's handy to fix things when things are down, so that's why we wanted to bring it to your attention.
To purchase a well monitoring.
Tom moved and
Tom?
Dean seconded.
to install a well monitoring,
Just,
including insulation and installation, parts and insulation.
Okay. The White Sulphur plans are done. I believe Terry sent them to the grant people, waiting for them to come back. And then I guess we'll be able to put it out to bid. Earl and I talked the other day about trying to get an engineer to evaluate the manholes, the condition of the manholes in the Swan Lake collection system. We're working on an RFP, I believe, Earl, 10-4. We'll put something together there and see if we can get somebody to come in and give us an evaluation of the system. The Fieldston Hotel, that's the camp that was giving us the grease problems. Spoke to Department of Health, Glenn Illing, spoke to Randy Watson. Randy Watson started putting this on the burner. Told him this has to be addressed before the next season starts, and I got Mr. Illing's agreement with me that something will be done there before the next season. The sewer plant in Swan Lake, of course, if you take the inflow out, no flow, no food, mixed liquor's low, the effluent looks bad, probably not gonna make permit there, but we're looking in the near future of doing some improvements there, so. And for your own information, the federal government has set a new set of standards for brass. Has to be low lead. You guys read it all here. The brass fittings that I have in stock right now are not approved.
As
So,
of January 1st, or?
January 4th. So we can use them when it's a non-drinking water situation, but I probably have $20,000-$30,000 worth of stock sitting around, which are nobody's going to give us nothing for it. They're not going to send it back to the foundry, melt it down, and redo it. And we were told pretty much get a junk dealer, sell it as junk, and you get 10 cents on the dollar. So that's just something that the federal government's forcing down our throats. And I believe that's all I got right now.
Thank you.
Charlie, this whole trucks can't get back into the barn. I gotta go over there. It's a new company this year, which is good.
Okay. Okay, that was, order two, code enforcement. If we have no more questions for Albert.
hopefully you've received my report, and if you have any questions on it, feel free to, I'll answer any questions. And other than that, I believe I think, Ken, we're looking for a resolution for the unsafe building, I think is what we're looking for.
That would be your next step, if you're,
I think that's what we're,
it's the resolution reaffirming the original order.
yes. I think that's where we're up to on that, just as a question if that's where we're at.
The gas station, for the demolition permit,
Yes,
did they say when that's gonna go down, or did
There-
they say they're replacing it with anything?
no. It's gonna be taken down, with what it sounds like very deep holes to be dug out and cleaned and put back. That's what it sounds like in
Taking the
between.
tanks and everything out?
Yeah, everything's coming out. It's gonna be, they're exploratory, actually, is what they're doing at this point. They've done a lot of testings, and I haven't seen the results, but from the conversations with the company that's doing it, it seems like there's quite a bit there.
It's quite a bit of assessed value.
Mm. I guess they're taking the canopy as well from the village. So that'll be a vacant lot probably beginning of January.
Where's that?
The Tiger's Den on Mill Street.
Across from the beer store?
Oh, yeah. The tank's off, they're coming out of there, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be a good thing for the village well.
Those are new tanks.
Relatively new. Well, we're gonna start, January, we're gonna concentrate on, the fire inspections that we haven't gotten to and the local ones that are open all year round. Try and get through them in January, February, and closing out some more building permits. And other than that, we've been, extremely busy for, November and so far.
At the last department head meeting, you were expecting the field inspection module for BAS the following week. Did it?
Haven't got it yet. There's still, they found an upgrade that they had installed in it as of late last week. I am expecting it hopefully late this week or beginning part of next. And time goes on.
And time goes on. Where are we with this, 329 Lenape Lake Road? Boyles?
Regarding,
The subdivision.
we are, we had citations sent, we retracted them according to council, and council is looking for them to go through the planning board process to make it a legal subdivision. Based on the time frame that it was done, it was a will situation. So they have to go through the planning board and with variances in planning board. So I think we have an April deadline as far as the email had, that hopefully they'll be through the process by then.
You get copied on that, you got copied on that from Walter?
Yeah, I wasn't real clear on.
No, I just wanna make sure you were getting the copies.
Yes, I
Yeah.
was getting copies.
So I
I'm
can't send
just-
anything you don't know.
I'm just not real clear on how we plan on accomplishing that.
I
didn't know you could subdivide property through a will, I guess is my sarcastic comment.
The way I read it, and I didn't have a chance to speak with Walter.
Well, you can in a will provide that I own 100 acres and I leave the
I
west
leave 20
50
to this,
to
to
this
20,
one,
yeah,
the west
yeah,
50
sure.
and the east 50 to that one. That's all well and good, but when people come to me and ask me to prepare a will, I say, well, yeah, but that doesn't circumvent the subdivision process.
Yeah.
Your estate is going to have to implement that, is going to have to present an application to the local planning board and process it through. I don't know who in this instance did it or why they thought they could just simply record
And I
a
don't know
couple
how the
of deeds.
county,
Yeah, I know, it's funny, the stuff that gets processed or rejected at the county at times, they sometimes they
not
catch and
subdivided.
sometimes they catch and kick it back and sometimes they don't.
I'm done.
Right.
I sent a copy of the map and everything out.
Right, the county subdivided, right?
And
They
that's
subdivided
not
because they got
everything.
they got two deeds that created as two separate parcels and the clerk, which records everything that's presented as long as it's in recordable form, and then they sent it across the hall over to Real Property Tax Services, and that's where the decision is made, map it or don't map it.
And then from that,
Yeah,
I
Kathy
get a
finds out
copy
about it all
also to
after the fact.
everybody, and
Yeah.
so it started the whole process.
But it's fun, I mean, it's just, you know, I don't wanna say there's no rhyme or reason, but at times it seems like that. There are things that they will reject, you know, when it hits Real Property Tax Services and not process. And there are things that, like this, that they do process. They know we have subdivision regulations.
So it slipped through.
Yeah, I'm not, it just,
Yeah.
you would think that there'd be a checkbox that says, yes, we have a subdivision approval from
There
the
is.
town of Liberty.
As a matter of fact, there is. It's on the-
You would think it's pretty easy to
on
look at a
5217,
checkbox
there is a
and see if there's a
checkbox.
check or not.
That says that.
I know there is. So basically, it's not their, certainly not the new people's doing. I just was curious, because I didn't hear anything other than,
So they're gonna come back through the planning process, even though they're on the tax rolls as separate
Yeah, they
parcels.
gotta satisfy Mark.
Yeah, and that's what Walter had said, they have to come back through the planning board process for subdivision and.
Is there
find
anything on the
subdivision.
lots, or is it vacant land?
I think there's a house on one of them.
But I think they retained that one, I think they're
And-
just
Yeah.
developing the land.
Accordingly, there was 2 separate deeds drawn up years and years ago. Never recorded or something, there's some date, it's a date issue.
that may be. I don't mean to be dragging this one down, but just. No. All right, never mind. Go ahead.
Are we making any progress with getting somebody hired in the building department?
I believe there's 3 applicants that have applied. And I did speak to the county about that one person, and we can hold down 2 part-time positions at 17 hours each. For that
Hmm.
one,
Oh, the board, and I didn't fill him in on that. We had.
I spoke to Dean about
Yeah,
it.
okay.
The one employee of ours that's also certified,
Yes, yes.
he can hold 2 positions. One for where he is now at part-time, and one for building inspector part-time, both at 17 and a half hours each.
Okay. But we haven't approached him yet, right? Okay.
Have you?
You're looking confused.
I
What
won-
Cheryl had found out is that the gentleman that works for Kathy, part-time doing this field assessment work, I guess would be the right way to say it, has all the proper certifications. So it just,
We
We're
would just
looking.
have to confirm that his certifications are still up to date.
yep.
he-
And
I
it
would-
might be an option, it may not
I would
be
assume
an
he, because he worked in Newburgh for a lot of years.
option. Yeah, it just,
I think that's where he still is.
Okay.
we don't know whether he'd even be interested. and
No,
just
nothing's
don't-
been sent to him.
I've had 3 other conversations by other code enforcement officers that work part-time in other municipalities that are interested also. So I think in the format that we change it to this year is a bonus, because we will get the qualified people that are gonna apply.
Which is year-round part-time.
Yes.
20,
23?
3.
and that keeps us below 23,000? Yeah, sure, right? Because we set a max
Yeah.
of 23,000 on that position, so we just have to, if it's not 17 hours, it's not 17 hours, but you've already bid it out at $23 an hour, right?
We didn't do an hourly rate.
No,
Do an
not
hourly
yet.
rate?
Not yet.
That was gonna be up to.
But you know you're gonna be somewhere there, you're not gonna you're not gonna get anybody interested if you say, yeah, I got a part-time position for $10. So you know you're gonna be in the $20 an hour range, $25 an hour
Certification.
range.
So we have applicants, you have some more interest in it in another month or 2? another
Well,
month?
I would say within a couple weeks.
I would like to, because we were all pretty clear about this, we need to have a final candidate by the 3rd week in January. So we know that that's taken care of, because
Okay.
if we delay it, it's just, we're gonna be back here right again in May and June and
Not have it
not
done.
have it. and-
I don't plan on delaying it. I can
I know
tell
you,
that
I
right
know
now.
you don't, I know you don't, but it's always best if all of us stay on top of it, so we make sure it happens. So I would like to suggest that we either drop dead date of
before you start the interviews, I have to get all the applications and get it to the county so they can say, yes, this person is qualified
Do you know
before
who
you
these
bring them in.
people are?
I do.
Will you get with her, please, so we can get the right paperwork to the county, make sure that they don't have a, I'd hate for you to say, this is the guy I want, and the county says, well, he
Well,
can't, because he's not certified.
I had conversations with, like I said, 3 different individuals. I'm waiting for them to send the resumes in and to follow the normal procedure with the other ones. I only had one responsive, so if Cheryl has 2 more, that's great.
I'm matching with their butts. Tell them we got somebody who are interested, if they really are interested, put a match under their butt and tell them. I don't wanna go through another season without.
And
you
it starts
having-
early
having
with the
from-
planning, they'll be before the
Yeah,
planning
yeah.
board, before you know it, it'll be
It's-
starting
it'll
to
be-
clog up there.
Yeah.
You're gonna have your hands full with that wonderful system that's always coming but never gets here. So,
I have one more question about, we were out for a hike up on
Not your
the
fault.
rail trail, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. go ahead.
Were you done?
Yeah, I am now, yeah.
The tanks in Parksville, on the western end of Parksville where the railroad track trail comes down,
Mhm.
there used to be a gas station there,
Mhm.
there's 2 tanks that are sitting there. Have you inspected them lately, or, because somebody from the DOT was with me when we were doing the walk, and they said they're illegally stored right now. Apparently they're on their side with the access is on the downside of the tank.
They were installed, to my knowledge, they were installed many, many years ago. They were never filled or anything, and that's the issue. That's why they're coming up out, because they have no fluid to keep them in place.
Well, these were not in the ground, I mean, these were sitting quite a ways up on top.
That's what I'm saying. They were
Popped out.
they popped out because they didn't have any fluid in them, and with that, they're just DEC is the regulatory agency
Oh, okay.
on them. But as long as they had no fluid, and that was just sold. That property was just sold at the tax sale this year, so I'm trying to get my handle on that too.
Did Hockman buy it or not?
I don't know who bought it. I don't think so. I thought it was a contractor who bought it.
Okay. So that's a DEC deal.
The tanks would be yes.
And the other gas station in Mobile is open again.
There should be open. They want to open today. Hopefully they'll be open by tomorrow. They had a couple small issues there tidying up.
Okay. That's good.
Yep.
Anything else for Mark? Nope. We'll go to Parks and Rec then. Brian?
Okay, we're just getting busy for everything ready for the holiday parade. That's this Friday, 6 o'clock. NICEC came and Harry and Adam helped put the lights on the tree out front. So far we have about 12 floats that have called to sign up, so it's more than we had other years, so I'm hoping it's going to be bigger and better. Charlie Dill came, installed the drop box at the office, held the city trip. We had a full bus and then some, but we didn't want to do 2 buses down there, so everything went good with that. If the weather holds off, BOCE's going to start the roofs on the pavilion. I got the prices in for the metal and everything, so we're just waiting to see here this week what goes on. We finished a winter program flyer. We're doing the youth basketball, arts and crafts, dance, skiing and snowboarding at Holiday, the walking program at the school, and Pilates. And also Chrissy Schiff and Russell from Liberty Chamber stopped in to see about possibly doing an ice skating rink down here in the village this winter. So we're looking into that, and we'll see what happens here. Weather's always the debating factor on that. Yeah, but other than that, we're just basically working on the parade thing right now, so.
Yeah, and let's hope that we can get as many people in this room to come to the parade, and it sounds like it's gonna be good. We got a lot of floats, a lot of interest,
Yeah.
and there'll be music.
Yeah, just need the weather to hold off.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for Parks and Rec? Town clerk, tax collector, you got the report. Were you gonna make any addition to that? No, so we have that report. And court?
The court collected this month $66,403. We're getting ready to start closing out files, our civil files, getting everything cleaned up for the end of the year. With the travel season this month, I'm sure tickets will be up, so that means fines will be up. That's it. What?
It's low.
Yeah. I was also wondering, I'm going on vacation January 3rd, and we had a lot of late vacations this year. I was wondering if I'd be able to carry over between 4 to 5 days to the first week of January of my vacation. It'll be used the first week, so.
The board has to approve it. It's in the policy.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Seconded by Steve, all in favor? Aye. Okay, finance.
We submitted our financial hardship to EFC for the Loomis Phase 1 and Phase 2, part of that whole project. We got more forms to fill out, but if we can get through all the forms, we got a good shot of getting 0% loan, both of us. So we're working on that. On little thing, those two things from, should be in the correspondence from
Munisat Services.
Unisat, I was sent to the wrong place. We pay those bills automatically. All mortgage, or all bond payments are done well in advance.
It doesn't hurt the board to know about that.
No.
You guys are busy writing checks out all the time,
Yes.
there's big numbers over there.
We paid our retirement, if you just, it was in November, which was due December 15th, and we get that discount, by paying it early. And it also keeps us so that that was the peak in the retirement. Now, in next year, those rates will be dropping because of and if the financial market stays like it is right now, they should keep coming down, because that's a 5-year rolling average. And, you've got that one voucher,
I've actually got 2 vouchers for the final drawdown for the Loomis Sewer.
they have to be submitted by December 7th, so,
Right.
we just got the vouchers, but we want you to approve the amount, we'll get the,
One's $32.50 to Kelly Engineering, and the other is $121,362.50 to Billman Ross.
we'll put that on the next audit, but they have to be approved and submitted by December 7th, isn't it?
So if we can get approval tonight, so we can do the drawdown and have it all finalized.
That's the final drawdown on the Loomis Sewer CDBC grant.
And the grant will be closed out.
So I'll make a motion that we, you pay those bills. Second by Tom, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye, so we got that done. That's the final on the Loomis Sewer approval.
Now, basically, for the balance of that, if it's finished, as soon as it's finished, we're going to make a loan, I'm gonna ask you to make a loan out of the general fund, and such time as if we can get the 0% financing, then the general fund will be paid back from the CDC grant. Now, that 0%, our general fund is earning 1/10 of 1% interest, which is a lot cheaper than going out and borrowing right now, no matter, it's almost as good as it. So we can borrow from that and just pay them the interest, which is nominal. So we'll pay that phase 1 off, which is about 300,000 of local share. And if we get if not, we've got the bond, you did the bond resolution, so we can borrow, but when we borrow from EFC, it still has to be a bond, it's bond, it's just a different source. So, we're on top of that.
Yep. We also need to set a date for our final meeting for the year to tie up any bills or anything that's laying around at the end of December. So, does anybody have any suggestions for a time for that? We were thinking about Friday the 27th of December, or that Monday,
Or
the
Monday.
30th?
Yes.
Because I was just a little concerned if we make it on the 30th, that if it's snowing and we can't get out, that we might want to just put it a couple days before that and have another date to fall back on.
It'll be a short meeting, it's just all the year-end, whatever final vouchers come in.
5 minutes.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
I'll make a motion that we have it Friday, 4 o'clock.
That's good for me.
Good for me.
Is that okay with you guys? I mean, you're gonna,
Yeah.
you won't have anything
Cheryl
come
does
in
all-
on Monday? that-
Cheryl said.
As long as I can get all the vouchers done, because we'll tell the department heads to hand them in by probably the Thursday before, so whatever that date is. So I can get them entered, because then we have to do the year-end transfers. And I have to get payroll in on that audit too.
But you were pretty confident you could have all that done by the 27th.
If the department heads get the vouchers in. and Sarah
All right.
works on them.
So we got a motion by Tom and a second by Dean.
Yeah, I'll second it. but-
And, all in favor?
Is that okay?
It's okay with me, it's 4 o'clock, you want
Yeah.
it, or?
Well, is that a hardship for you to come in special, or you're not?
No, no. It's Friday, the, gee whiz, no,
Friday the 30th at 4 o'clock.
Friday the
No, Friday
27th.
7, yes.
At 4 PM, final board meeting of the year. But if it snows or something, then we'll still have the 30th or the 31st to fall back on to get it done.
And the motion was,
Tom, seconded by Dean.
On our inclement weather policy,
Yes.
that just hit me. We decided that if school was closed, so what would we do in a situation where we
On
had
vacation.
schools already
I
closed?
thought about that too. On a school vacation, you'll have to,
We'll just play it like we
Well,
used to?
yeah. Yeah, the supervisor will be forced to make a decision in that case. I was trying to let somebody else make that decision for me, but in that case, that 1 week of the year, we'll have to do that one, and hopefully not any snow during Easter vacation. But, always possible. All right, so you got that? And, I was gonna address that in a minute too, because when we get to the regular meeting, we're talking about the minutes of the meeting where we talked about our snow policy, and I wanted to clarify it, because it wasn't really clear in the minutes of what we had talked about, so we'll talk about that a little bit. Okay, anything else from
Nope,
finance?
that's it.
Got everything you needed, all the resolutions we needed
I think
today?
so, yeah.
Chris has.
Can you just update us on what we talked about last month with, I see it's on here that you communicated about with presidential. Where are we at?
Well, we're at, the other electrician went out, I guess in the time being he fixed it, but then I got another phone call that there were more lights out. So she's gotta put in a call to NYSEG, put in a ticket, and have them go out there and look at it. If it's our responsibility, they'll let me know. If not, they'll fix it themselves, NYSEG.
What was wrong with this post here that we talked
He never got back to me. Alls I know is he went out and fixed it. Haven't seen anything. He hasn't called me. NYSEG told me that was fixed.
Oh, yeah. But we have to, was our hiree, the electrician that went out to fix the light. But now there's another light out.
There's a couple.
Because all NICEAG's responsible for is the bulbs. We're responsible for the posts and the wiring and all that.
Somewhere in there between the bulb and
Right.
where it comes out of the
If
ground,
they-
I don't know what, and we have to, if the pole gets bent, we have to put a pole.
If
put
they
in.
find that it's their problem, they'll fix it. If they say it's not something they're responsible for, then it's all us.
But it's a lighting district, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the people that are in the district pay.
Right, anyway, yes,
every
but it's
year.
just a matter of, see, everybody else, we just call
Yeah.
NICEAG for over leads and they fix
Somehow this
it, but
is a-
not when there, when it's on the pole, well,
Yeah, one of the workers did call me and tell me he had it done. But that's all he said. He left a message that it was done because I wasn't here when he called. And then I spoke to NICEAG about it and he said the other problems should be called in and they'll go out and look at it.
Okay. That's it. I don't see anybody here from the CDC. Am I missing anybody? So we'll go past that, and I don't see anybody here from the control. So we'll go from that. So with that, we'll excuse the department heads, unless they're just interested in what's going on. You wanna stay for the camera? Was that everybody? Did I get everybody, or leave somebody off altogether?
No, you didn't.
So we'll go to board discussion. First thing on the agenda here, Tom, you got anything for us?
I was just concerned about the ambulance and he answered all the questions, so.
We didn't do it.
Thank you for
We'll
coming.
get back to
Dean?
Couple things. In this, I guess the easiest one first, can we change this summer parking enforcement to parking enforcement?
Parking
And
enforcement. I mean, as an
not
item on
have
the agenda?
summer on there? Yeah, it's on the agenda. This is the second time it's been like that. I think it sends a bad connotation and not what any of our intents are. And I don't know who to have take care of this, but there is I stopped and talked to the people in the Village Waterworks. There is a tree just above the village waterworks that is snapped off about 30 feet in the air, and it's about an 85-foot tree, and it is gonna come over in a windstorm, and it's gonna take somebody's car out on Laguna Hill Road. And I'm being somewhat selfish because most of my family lives and travels that road 3 or 4 times a day. But I don't know who do we?
It is dead. It's our road.
When it comes down, it's gonna mess somebody up if it hits them.
It's, we have to find a property owner and ask him to do something about it,
I
right?
think it's the village's property.
It's in front of the waterworks?
It's right next to the village waterworks. And I went in the building and talked to
It
them,
could
and
probably
I
hit
didn't
the
get a very
building.
appropriate response. But, we'll leave that as it is.
Find out for you.
Huh?
I can find out for you.
Cause we need to,
I'll find out. We'll find out if it's theirs, and then I'll go tell Danny, you gotta do something
I
about
mean,
it.
we're getting into heavy wind season here, and it's gonna come down and
I'll talk to
really,
Danny for sure.
and it'll be me it hits.
And if he says, if he says he wants to see a survey, but if it's on if it's on
Yeah, yeah, Sarah lives there.
I was gonna
so-
say-
See to it that it works out that way.
All right, here's a, if it's
It might
If
be
it's
on our
I don't
right.
know.
in the right of way
I
of
don't
our
know.
road,
That's a highway law issue, I'd have to look it up, but I think we've got the right to take it out. I don't know whether we've got the ability to charge the expense to the property owner or not.
Yeah, cause it's in the right of way.
Yeah.
There's no doubt it's in the right of
We
way. I
can-
mean, you've seen it, right?
We
It's in the
can
right of way.
address it, but I don't know off the top of my head the answer to the question of who bears the financial responsibility for the cost of removing it.
so you just wanna have
Because it's in our-
take
it's
it
our
down and then
highway
worry about it
guys,
later?
it's our
Yeah.
issue.
I think,
You want,
I think
we'll take
this-
it down, cause it's a hazard, and then we'll find
Yeah,
out
I
if we
mean,
can
I
charge him
don't,
for
I
it.
don't tend to overreact, you've seen it, I don't tend to overreact on things,
It's a
but
big
this is,
tree,
this is a
and it's
big tree,
dead.
and if it does blow over, and its branches are on the road side of the tree it's leaning
Well, it's
against,
our
so it's
road.
coming.
It's our road, and, you know, we've got an outside issue, forget about whose property is and the cost of that, I mean, you've got a potential liability issue here
Yeah,
that could turn into real
And the weight of the snow bringing it over when the trap plow trying to get by, couldn't get by either, so he's gotta
wind
get it
and every
down.
other thing
yeah,
that's gonna.
I think, I would prefer that we get it down,
Down.
and then we'll worry about,
If somebody else has some, yeah. But if it's in the right of way, we can clear it out, I don't have any doubt.
Yeah.
Now, we need to make sure it's in the right of way, which is so many feet from the center of the road.
it's 25
Well,
feet from the
Well, it's
center
hanging
of the
over,
road.
it's hanging over the road, you see.
No, no,
Oh, it's
no,
not?
it's off the side of the road, but it's leaning up against, you know, that whole road, trees right up against the edge of the
Right.
road. And it's leaning against a tree up probably about 80 feet in the air, it's leaning, it's snapped down around 40 feet.
Mhm.
And with heavy snow and windstorm, it's coming down, and it's, from my perspective, and I don't know, again, I keep looking because you've seen it, my perspective, that if it comes down, it's coming down on the road.
Oh, it's definitely coming in the road.
And
How could-
Power
could they
line
look
there
at it?
too?
I'd hate, yeah, there's a power line there. I mean, I'd hate to know about it and not do anything about it, and then God forbid we got a dead person on our
Have Tim
hand.
go
I feel
look
like a
at it.
schmuck the rest
Well, it's
of
on the
my life.
record now, so. we better
Yeah.
do something.
Yep, thanks.
Sorry.
I'll call him tomorrow.
2 more. Can you get me the vehicle and traffic, or whatever citation, you look in the vehicle and traffic law for parking?
Yeah,
Cause I can't find it, and it's just cause I'm not very
yeah,
astute at
okay.
that stuff. And this is just a real general one. We've had now in the 2 years I've been here, we've had probably 4 or 5 different people come in for speed limit adjustments on their roads in this town. And I know that if I wanted to, I could get a petition signed on Elk Point Road about speed limits. Would we have is there a reason we can't say that the roads in the town of Liberty, if they're not posted, they're a certain speed limit?
Yes, there is, you can't
Okay.
do it.
Okay. Yeah, so if you're gonna have a speed limit, you
You gotta go through that exercise.
All right.
I mean, you guys can undertake to start the exercise, you don't have to wait for the people in the neighborhood to come and petition you, you guys can start that process.
But then we'd have to post every single road.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so you can't get away cheap. and
No, we
just,
can't do a townwide speed
That's all.
limit,
That's all.
unfortunately,
Okay.
no. Village can do that, town can't.
Okay.
Okay, Maurice is not here. And Chris?
Let's see, we talked about the Loomis sewer, we just need to stay on top of that so we don't end up with those fines. We talked about the building candidate, we talked about presidential. How did the inspection go with Ag and Markets over at the dog kennel? Anybody here?
She
No.
passed.
She passed. We talked about White Sulphur Water. Charlie, you gonna talk with Terry again about now we can probably get that out to bid here.
Yep.
Um,
But he sent, he sent that, he didn't even see, I didn't even see it. It went out without even
No, it
seeing
went to Grant, see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it has to be, they have to approve the plans finally before we put it out to bid, because they could change them if they didn't like them.
It's been going since like August, I think, right?
Yeah, but he just submitted the plans a couple weeks ago. I
Yeah,
mean,
they're
it's
in
been
now,
going on, right,
November, they
Albert?
got in.
But it just,
He gave it to us for the final look over any adjustments, and it was sent on its way.
Because I had a conversation with Blauer and I told him it wasn't submitted, and then I found out it was submitted. I didn't, it just went.
during the last week and a half with the little bit of snow we got, how did the snow removal go here?
I was on vacation. This morning I was ready to grab the shovel. It wasn't a lot, but just enough that maybe somebody could have, but they were there shortly after.
Parks and Rec did here,
Yeah, they came.
and the village did the parking lot across the street, so,
So it worked out?
yeah.
I guess if anybody ever showed interest anytime forward, we could still hire them.
We have an object, well, yeah, the bomb will still be Saturday and Sunday.
And then the last thing I had on my list was, any update on the Orsec deal?
Yeah, he said I'll have it by the end of the year. I'll have the meets and bounds by the end of the year. But he said a lot of things.
He said this year?
He said by
Or is this
the, you know, he said the end of the year. He didn't say
Did
what.
not, did not
this year.
identify which year it was.
This year, the year. Yeah, careful.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh, and he wanted, I know that there will be, he would like to ask when it comes back that, what did he say? Oh, that we not put a playground or anything on it for like 24 months from the finalizing of the agreement. This gives him another 2 years not to be around to have it.
I think we're gonna do it in the next 24 years.
24 months,
Yeah,
24
I'm
months.
just saying, I don't.
Yeah, no, but at that point, it'll expire, and we could put,
Yeah.
he just said, when we close on the agreement, if we could have it, that we didn't put, that we didn't use it, a playground or an access for 24 months from the
I'll
signing.
agree with it. I'll agree to that if he gets it to us by the end of the year.
Gets it to us, yeah.
That's what you can tell him, okay? 'Cause this is
All
gonna
right,
go
I
on
got
for
something to
2.5
tell him.
years.
Right.
So,
Now you got a bargaining chip.
If we get it by the end of the year,
he'll have his 24-month,
month, where we actually don't do anything on the property. I'll tell him.
Yes, please, tell him just that. And if he doesn't, we're gonna put a playground on there a week after.
We won't agree to it, that's all.
It's been 2 years, 3 years, easy.
It's been 3 years.
More than that.
Yeah.
More than that.
Is that it, Chris?
That was it, thank you.
Okay, neat. See what I got here. I sent in to Bonachak for that capital money. We had some discussions about it since the last time for to redo the front porch. I had good numbers and everything from the grant, so that's in, and I'm gonna follow up on to see. But he said it won't be January, February before he makes his awards. We're also trying to get the skate park money realigned to the skate park, because the original 40,000, we have a grant that was approved back in 2009, I think, for 40,000 for a skate park. But it talks about West Lake Street, and it talks about fencing and lighting. And that's not what it would be used for at this point, so I'm trying to get their office to sign off that we can use it for the skate park where it is, which will go a long way to helping them finish that up. So hopefully that'll happen. I just want to mention I'll be playing here on Friday during with the band, and we got at least 7, and we might have probably 14 by the time we get there of tubas and trombones and stuff playing Christmas carols. So it'll be fun. Any comments on the shared service presentation that we went to? You were there, I was there.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Uh,
I think that it wasn't really what we were hoping we would hear, but again, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
I'm trying to get some of it. She had 2 screens that I thought were pretty good data about things that they thought were good things to try for sharing services and what the degree of success would be for those things. So I think that what I got out of it was that let's not go for the hard stuff, let's go for some of the other easy stuff that might still be out there, purchasing, and I just got a letter from Dr. Silver at the high school that the state has just now permitted schools to go into contracts with, and I forwarded to you guys the,
Well, yeah.
that piggybacking, there's a thing called piggybacking, where if somebody has a good buy on something, you're allowed to piggyback on that without going through the bidding process.
I think they just added schools, because we're
Yeah.
allowed to, or towns, counties, whatever, in New York State. And according to that thing, you can also, on federal contracts, although.
If you can find somebody that has one, you can
Yeah.
piggyback with them.
Yeah, but the problem
Good
is
luck
you
with
gotta
that.
order a
But,
thousand pieces.
but there is a, but what I thought out of that article was that there's sort of a clearinghouse to find where these where these numbers are.
Yeah.
In the school, they have these
Yeah,
numbers.
they seem to at least be willing to look
Yeah.
at it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
No.
I don't think it's something we should drop. I think we should continue to push.
We owe it to people.
And
I
we
mean,
should
if-
take it,
The small
one step
stuff,
at a
yeah.
time, and maybe someday we'll actually get all the way there.
But I mean, from the half a dozen of the things that you suggested early on, we already do 3 of the half a dozen things that you already did. Sharing the assessor, having a parks and rec for the entire town. I mean, we already do. We share highway. We help them out with in the village, and they help us with equipment. So I mean, we're already doing a lot of the easy. I call it the low hanging fruit, and the other stuff will be a little harder. But it seems though we always try to do the hard stuff, and then it just drops dead, and we don't get anything done. So there's a lot more easier stuff to do before we get to that. I just have this down as a note to talk to you about some sort of research on pilot agreements with summer camps and things. They're really offering pilots to us, and I don't know who has legislation that we could monitor or look at.
I don't, we can always accept money as a gift from anybody. So if a tax exempt cared to offer us, and then there was one camp that had been doing that,
Yeah.
and maybe they still are, I don't know, but we can't enter into a pilot agreement to exempt someone from taxes and take a payment in lieu of taxes. The closest I've seen done to that was, there was an accusation that an assessment case had gotten settled by another town in the county and they basically, they were getting a big pile of money directly from the property owner, and they settled the assessment case, and the county figured out what was going on and went, rightfully so, went bananas over it. And we just don't have the authority on our own to exempt. I mean, I suppose you could create, but you'd need state legislation to do it, our own industrial development agency, but you'd be in competition with the county agency, and it would.
Because the folks that, the summer folks have offered to participate in some sort of a program, because they understand that they're before the planning board more than most other people are there, and they understand it's a cost to the town to provide all the services for them. And I mean, they're really interested in trying to.
They are.
Well, we need them to, and like you said, though, it can't be a quid pro quo.
It can't be
We'll
quid pro
give
quo.
you the extra house if you give us the $10,000.
They are absolutely free and welcome
To make a
and
donation.
invited to make a contribution to the town of Liberty, that the town of Liberty can use as it sees fit in its budgetary process.
So I can send them a letter and say we would
Well,
welcome
one
all
thing
donations.
you might wanna do is to have some kind of listing of the tax that's donated and make it a press release every time we get, cause other places do it.
Yeah.
You get,
I mean, it'd be good publicity for
you
them.
read this, everything, that these give money to the fire company, or this new truck, or something like this, or the town for Parks and Rec. I mean, it's gotta be kinda something
Yeah.
that, but every time you
But-
use it.
Yeah, but I mean, they're exempt because they're exempt.
Right, they just make a donation, but.
And you can't even do anything that gives the impression that exemption that they're enjoying is because they've entered into some sort of an agreement with us to.
Okay,
to
I just
let
didn't know
them
if there was if another community had some sort of a pilot agreement for tax exempts that, in a structured way, makes donations. I know that the center, the ashram over there, they make all kinds of donations to the community at different times.
That's
They
the
do.
press releases you always see.
Yeah.
They absolutely do.
So that's what we'd be looking for them if they.
But we are absolutely entitled it's absolutely lawful for us to accept gifts from anyone.
We will happily do that.
when I say gifts, that the town is a
Yeah,
municipality.
yeah, I understand it's not.
I wanna be careful.
You know, it's pretty clear.
And the other thing was.
Ken said, it's not, Ken said he could do it.
The other thing was at the TD Bank, and I talked to some of you guys about this, I don't know how far it got around the table, is out on North Main Street and the property is available, and we were exploring that as a possible home for the court. So we'll see where that goes, but. They're asking $350,000 right now, but they also realize that that's not something they're gonna get unless it's another bank that comes into town.
Yeah, for whatever it's worth, I know a little bit about banks and real estate. If you look at what's going on, you don't necessarily have to jump right away, unless somebody finds that attractive because they find it attractive. I mean, you got a vacant bank out in Grahamsville that's sitting there, you've got one out in White Lake, and these are all old Bank of America branches. You know, the price will come down.
Oh, yeah.
The price will come down.
No, the only rush was the timing on this.
Yeah.
So it's- No, they're not getting $350 for that building on a good day.
Okay. So we'll go on to, we've got the correspondence there, I think we've covered, most of it. The other one, keep it in your hands, because we'll need it later, the zoning revisions. I just get stuff and I don't know what to do with it, so I send it to you guys, so, that
What?
environmental conservation regarding I get an application for somebody they got an incomplete application for a dam, but, I don't know. Are we just an
I looked
interested
at
party
that.
in that? or-
I think they just do that as a service to you, to let you know, because they flagged the dam, DEC, and they regulate it, and they're
Yeah.
in the process of trying to get this dam rehabilitated, which is all well and good, but until that happens, theoretically, it's a safety concern, and that's the reason why we're kept in the loop, I would think.
Well, we got Schuster's correspondence, right?
Yeah, because I think I have it down on the agenda later for zoning.
Yeah, I mean, I went through it, and it is what we asked them to
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it the way it is.
You want Kenny to work on drafting it?
I think so. I think this is the more important one
Yeah.
here. And later on, I can
Well,
talk a
let's
little bit
discuss it,
about
'cause
self.
I don't have mine out yet, and I wanna go through, there were a couple of things I would like to ask if we could do, so
Okay.
that I had questions about, so it's still on the agenda in a little bit. But it'll be here, it's a reference. Okay, so we'll go on to the approval of the audit,
Motion to accept the audit.
all
was,
the abstracts
tax.
and the 2027, 2003, and 371. By Tom, seconded by Dean, all in favor? Aye. So we'll go on to the approval of the minutes. We need a motion to approve the department head minutes of October 7th.
I'll make that motion.
Dean and Tom, or Tom and Dean. You got that, Sarah? Sounds like a recording, Jan and Dean.
We're the same, it's the same, okay.
It don't matter.
Now, I had the question on this one, let me see if I can find it. As far as, it refers in the minutes there to what we had decided about the closures, which we had just talked about. According to the minutes, it states that we'll have a meeting policy regarding cancellations. It was agreed that during inclement weather, if the school cancels after-school activities, the town will cancel the meeting and have it the following Tuesday. It says if the school cancels after-school activities. If school is closed, I think we decided if it was, school was closed or after-school activities were canceled, that our meeting would be canceled.
Right.
But it would be, is the following Tuesday clear there in legal language that it's the next day? If the meeting is on a Monday and it says, well, how about the following Tuesday?
I think so, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Tuesday,
pretty
back
clear to
next
me,
Tuesday.
yeah.
Okay, so I'd like it to read that if school is canceled or after-school activities are canceled, that we cancel our meeting for that night. The minutes to change.
You want to change it to
It was agreed that during inclement weather, if the school is closed
close?
on the day, or if after-school activities are canceled on our meeting day, our
Then-
meeting will be canceled and will be held the following Tuesday. the following day.
And what she has it.
She doesn't have school
Doesn't have
being
closed.
canceled.
Doesn't
Doesn't have school, just that, she only has
Isn't
school
that close.
activities.
Okay.
After school activities. If they
Okay, so
cancel
you
school in
want
the
it
morning, our meeting is
closed
off.
also.
Yeah.
The school is closed, or if after school activities are
Okay.
canceled, we're
So I'll have
canceled.
her add closed.
Yeah.
So with that revised revision, I'm happy to approve that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll go on to the acceptance of the monthly reports. 1, 2, and 3.
I'll make that motion, excuse me.
For 1, 2, and 3?
Mm-hmm.
Seconded by Tom. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor? Aye. Old business. We sent out the Infirmary Road Sewer District Agreement. This would authorize the supervisor to sign that. The big change is we're only asking for 30,000 gallons instead of 150,000 gallons. And if they get close to their, we get 2 or 3 notifications, twice a year we can ask them for numbers regarding their capacity versus their usage.
Right.
And they will have to give it to us
Right.
twice a year. And in the meantime, we'll be selling them the pipe all the way to the Infirmary Road. And we'll be taking money off of our quarterly payments to them. So, got a motion?
Make a motion.
Tom makes that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Chris. Any other discussion?
That was for 20 years again? How many years?
10 is
10
years.
years.
10.
Been so long, I
I thought it
forgot.
was 20.
20 years?
I thought it was 20.
No, I thought the one that just ended was 20. I thought this was 20 years.
Well, we're confused with the, what do you call it, is 10, I think, with the, Mountain View is 10. What is this one, 20? It was
I think
20,
it was
because it was
20.
90-something.
The original one was 20, absolutely. But I
Yeah.
thought this one was being reviewed for 10.
They're paying
Well, you're the.
Well, how long? It's based on what the repayment of the.
$1,000 a
is
year
that-
for 20
does
years.
it
No,
take
but,
that
no,
20
we get
months?
it that's all done in 10 years, right? No, we get 4,000 a year for 10 years. That part of it is 4,000, we get 1,000 a quarter off on our bill, which is 4,000 a year for 10 years. No?
Yes, I can't remember, it's been so long.
Well, I knew we're getting that,
Yeah.
Okay.
but I'm just looking here. Anybody have a copy of it handy?
No, I
'Cause
don't.
we should
The
know.
only reason
It's a good question, Chris,
Well,
we
the-
should know.
But the only reason I brought it up is that, you know, with the gambling past, and if something did end up at Grossinger's in the next 4 to 5 years, they could reach maximum capacity there, and
I never been.
we may not have a place to.
Well, that's going to be true whether it's a 10-year agreement or it's a. Or
Yeah,
it's a
that's what I'm
20-year
saying.
agreement.
Yeah.
And then we have 18 months to find another source. Do you have a copy there?
No.
Somebody have a
I
copy?
don't have.
I'd have to run upstairs.
It's not important.
No? You all right?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to bring it up to that
Yeah.
point, that it wouldn't matter if it was 10 or 20 with the gambling.
Yeah. But I mean, all the eventualities, we'll have to create a new agreement if we run into something like that. I mean, if they decide to put a sheriff's department, you know, over there, the prison over there, then we would have another need, and we'd have to reopen the agreement, reopen it again. But they kind of felt it was silly for us to hold 150,000 gallons for them when we only use less than 15,000 per quarter.
So here's another question, Kenny. So
Per day.
if that did actually happen, and in 5 years from now, they gave us an 18-month notice that we had to, is there a clause in there then, because the $1,000 per month, or per quarter, would they have to start paying us the 1,000 if we weren't using them?
Yeah, they agreed to pay us X amount of dollars. They're going to have to pay us that.
Whether it's-
Yeah.
Okay.
It won't nullify the entire agreement,
No.
just because they won't be supplying us.
Just because, yeah, I mean, it's not, that doesn't eliminate their financial obligation to us for the purchase of the pipe.
Okay, so we got a motion to authorize me to sign that agreement, seconded, all in favor? Aye. Now we'll go to approving the annexation of the property on 1885 Route 52 to the Village of Liberty. If we don't, it gets approved by, if we don't disapprove it, it gets approved in another week.
It'll be deemed approved by you know.
So, we'll need a motion.
Motion.
Tom,
Second that.
seconded by Dean, all in favor? Aye. Okay, here we go. Now this is the, district intent charts. Let's see what I got. I have to find the one I have marked up. I got 4 copies of the same thing, but only one of them's marked up. Under agricultural conservation district, special use, it still says single-family manufactured homes. Could we just get that? Remember, we had talked about not,
That's what I wanted to bring that up as well.
so we just cross off manufactured.
Manufactured, because it's a single family.
It's a special use for a single-family home. Agricultural, single-family detached dwelling, so we don't need it there at all.
Don't need it.
Take it out
It's
altogether.
redundancy.
Right,
Because we already permitted under
It'd be
principal permitted
permitted
uses,
under
so this
right.
has to come out.
that can go.
Count on me to make all this? You're counting on me? We are reducing the acreage there from 10 to 5.
Yes. We're also getting rid of, in that minimum development standards, where you have the front yard, side yard, rear yard, and it says open space 50%. That's a typo that's been carried over for,
So we're gonna take out
Long time.
open space 50%,
right,
just that line.
just that line.
Okay. Any other ones on that one?
Nope. I had the same thing on RD,
Open space,
30%.
Take it out?
Get rid of it.
we added two-family dwellings in that rule.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we're to service commercial. I just wanted to bring this up. Under other retail, under a special use, if we would have a special use for other retail and service establishments over 7,500 square feet. If we would consider that as a special use. Because we just ran into it a couple of times, and I know that there are properties in the service commercial that are in it that are over 7,500 feet already, but they could get a variance if they were next to a building that was as big as they were. Usually they consider the nature of the neighborhood when granting
Maybe one of
a
the factors
variance
they can
to that.
consider.
It was when the people with the,
Yeah, yeah. I don't have a problem with it, but we had this discussion already, there ought to be a ceiling on that, because
you don't want a big box there.
you don't want a 100,000 square foot building sitting in the SC district. Now, you might want that on 52 going towards Loch Shelbrick someday, but you probably, I
Don't want
can't
that.
ever envision that being something you want in White Sulphur. But I think without a ceiling on it, you open yourself up to that. Because if I meet all the conditions of the special uses put in front of me by the planning
You're
board,
gonna get approved.
I'm getting it. So I don't have a problem with it, but I think it should be a ceiling.
And that number would be
I don't know,
12, double 75 is 15.
15, 20, you know,
You know me, I'll go
Yeah,
for
I know,
whatever
you'd
you
go,
tell me
you'd
is the
go
largest
for,
number.
you'd go for millions, you'd go for a million square feet, but you know, there's a reason there's zoning in
I'm playing
town,
that
so-
furniture store over there, and I wanna put in 20,000 square feet.
Zoning's supposed to make things look somewhat similar.
Go from a
So,
wall to a warehouse.
yeah.
I like
yeah.
that 20 going once, 20 going twice. Got anybody here 25? Anybody have 25
I don't
going once,
know,
going twice?
what's your gut? Because unless we're gonna make different special service commercial districts
No,
in this
I got-
town,
Suppose somebody does take the property, the Amapro property on the way to White Sulphur, and they want to make that into some sort of a mini mall. Does the 7,500 count for each store or for the whole project? He wants to build a 25,000 square foot place of 25,000 square foot, 5,000 square foot stores, and he wants to open it up in a service commercial.
I would interpret this as each store 7,500. That's how I would interpret it.
under one roof is how I interpret it.
Under one roof.
Yeah, that's how I would interpret
Because
it,
they ran into that with the guy that,
right?
Not necessarily.
Well, it's crucial, I mean, so if it's not,
If you were looking at building codes, you would, if you had firewalls and like condos, you would be, like Chris said, per store. Because that would be what
What's-
determines the type
what's-
of building. So if you have, your ceiling could be whatever you want to make it at, 15.
but just for example, the Sullivan's store, it's in the village, it's not in the town. But that's individual stores, but there's no firewalls or anything else, but there's individual stores there, and that's well in excess of.
You also have multi-use properties too, as a use in a special use. Also there now, correct?
yeah, but the square footage. Most and I'm not a mall building expert, so, but I would think that most malls probably do not have interior firewalls.
Today they do.
Today they do.
Today they do. Not the older ones, but today they should have. And that is something that whatever you
Must
decide
have?
as a board, yes.
It must have.
Yes,
He's talking
depending on
about
square
stuff
footage and
more
stuff.
like the old Orange Plaza in Middletown that's now individual stores, but he's not talking about a mall with a common indoor heated area.
Yeah.
Firewalls in between all of those stores.
There
'Cause if
are,
they get a fire in there, it's gone.
there are today, Charlie. Between the walls, there are ratings between them, yes. And there, in lieu of fire ratings, you may have sprinklers, and there's different things in code that would warrant that. But, it could be whatever this board wants.
Make a zoning law determination, don't rely on,
I'm not, but I don't wanna make a zoning law determination that says, yeah, you can do this, but you effectively knock yourself out of the box because nobody else is requiring all these additional restrictions to be able to do it. So, I mean, if it's standard practice by code in the state of New York that there has to be fire rated separation between individual stores, then I'm fine with saying it's 7,500 square feet per store.
Based
If
on
it's
square footage.
not standard, then I think that's where the 20,000 number comes in, because if it's not standard, if he can go to Monticello and build it cheaply, or have to come to Liberty and spend extra money, guess where he's going? I mean, you know, it doesn't matter. So, I don't know, I'm still fine with saying, you know, 15,000, 20,000 square feet, from 7,500 to 20,000 square feet is a special use. But then, understand that we're gonna have to make some changes to our special use regulations that make it a little bit easier for the planning board to say, we're taking into consideration the following things that I don't think we've done in practice before. And even that's still a hill to climb.
So let's go
But
for 20,000.
I don't want any of this to delay this happening, is where my caveat is.
Yeah, but no, but, well, we
Because
can
I'll go home
say
tonight and make the
other
changes.
retail service, other retail and service establishments over 7,500 in the special use, not to, and over 7,500 and less than 20,000. No? How would you say it?
Just say not exceeding 20,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Because that's the special use. I mean, it should be understood that the permitted use is 7,500.
So we don't have
and
to say-
special uses say not exceeding 20,000 square feet. It should be fairly clear that that's, right?
yeah, well,
I mean, I would read it.
more than but not exceeding is.
Yeah, because the 7,500 is covered in the other, as a regular
Right.
use, so
So more
over
than-
7,500 and
More
less
than
than 20,000.
7,500, you know, but not exceeding
Right.
whatever the upper limit is.
So we're good with that. That's all I got under service commercial.
Can I ask a question? Under service commercial, was this parking lots added anywhere for usage?
Parking areas are accessory uses in service commercial. So you
You
mean a
mean as a
parking lot?
primary, as a
Primary.
primary use?
For example, someone like Sam's that has a lot that they're using for their facility, but it's not by their facility.
Well, you got that with the church, right, or no? It's a particular case, no, in White Sulphur?
You do, yeah, well, you do it, but that's next to
That's
the
next to it.
building, correct? But that's,
I thought our code allowed.
We hadn't discussed that, we hadn't considered
I
that.
thought our code allowed a property owner to do that, if it wasn't a structure. A parking lot would never be considered a structure. I
but
thought
it's a
you were
use
allowed.
of, a use of,
It's land, dude.
Yeah, but there's a section in there that says things like retaining walls and parking.
Would you issue a building permit to somebody to put a parking lot in?
Yeah, I think that's in the lot area calculated.
if they were doing
The
the
covered lot
interior
coverage.
Should have brought
structures.
my book tonight. I
But
didn't.
but if somebody was, like, pretend that parking lot wasn't there at Sam's, and he was gonna go build one, would you have to issue him a permit? To build a parking lot?
Kathy's raising her hand. What, Kathy?
Sorry?
You were raising your hand, I thought.
No, I was.
You were
sitting
itching
here
your head.
has
Oh, I
hard
thought you
hats.
were gonna, thought you were gonna
I don't know
straighten
what's
this out.
happening over there.
I would, it's a property use. And if it's determined there, then it's fine. We haven't had that situation, and the Sam situation was one that we were
The
looking.
situation we were dealing with down there, if he wanted to build a parking lot behind the store there, blacktop it and all that, he would not need to get any type of permit from you.
Not necessarily, but it should be in a permit, some type of a permitted use or
If
something.
he's not getting
Yeah.
a permit, this wouldn't really
Yeah.
pertain,
But it's runoff.
right? I don't know.
I'm not gonna find it right now. The answer is no. The short answer is no, we didn't put it in.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I had a conversation with Walter back about a couple different applications, and we found no use for it, so we, based on a couple complaints we had. And that's why I just wanted to add, if we need to add it, add it. If we don't need it, then let's not add it. I didn't want to overlook it, that's all.
You don't need to add it as an accessory, because it already exists as an accessory.
Accessory, but
use.
if
If
that's the
someone wants
only
to
thing on the
create
property.
a use, I've got a lot of land that's vacant, and I
Yeah.
want to establish a parking lot on it, because I think I can make money selling parking spaces to people, whether it's by the hour or day or whatever.
Correct.
You know, what's your intent on that? What do you want? Do you want to regulate that? Do you want to get something, you could be talking about laying a lot of pavement down and having a lot of water impact.
yeah, I mean. Is it crucial? I mean, we have 1 million people that wanna come and put parking lots in the town of Liberty. I mean, I don't mean to be sarcastic, I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't want, there are some things in here that are, I don't want the ball to stop rolling on
Understood.
these things. We know we're gonna go back and make additional changes even to this yet.
The only thing I
will.
could
We
think
will,
of-
I mean, it's a nature of it.
Somebody cleared a piece of property out and wanted to make like a gravel parking or something to have a flea market there on weekends, you know, I don't know, that's the only thing that would come to me.
Is that a problem?
No.
No, it's not to me, but it is a
It's-
problem, and it's a potential problem if somebody wants to come and pave 10 acres of land. Then you have a potential runoff problem.
You have a problem if you clear it and.
So make it a
put
special
pressure
use.
on it, compact it.
Yeah, you do.
But then if you make it a special use, you're gonna have to have parking lot, code to cover it.
Right. So that was the intent behind my question. Is it a pressing issue? Because if it's not, I would rather
I'll let it go then.
think about it,
Let it go.
have the code to work with it, rather than just stick it in here and then there's no code for the planning board. And the planning board's gonna be like, okay, well, what do we do with this? I mean, it's,
And what standard
you
do we
gave us
apply?
absolutely no guidance. What are we using as a standard? So if it's not, if there's nothing, I mean, be honest, if there's something pressing that we're,
Well, you have, we were talking about, like Sam Service, for example, we said we're gonna bring this up when they have that empty parking lot by McDonald's. They have all different vehicles parked there that's not licensed, and they're just service vehicles based off the garage. And there's many complaints about that through the neighbors and things like that, and they said that through Walter, and I don't know if we get into this over me, but that there's not a special use in our ORA use for parking lots on a property all by itself, and that was the out of waiting for this, just seeing if we need to put it in or not.
Well, there isn't such a use all by itself, that's a true statement, but your example, I don't know that what is going on in that lot down, that Sam's makes use of that lot, is really a parking lot, that's more of a storage facility. I mean, that's not, when I think of a parking lot, I'm thinking about transient.
Well, there is that, there is a big share of that there too, transient.
How did the village do it? Because, the Ideal Snack property that got annexed next to Ideal Snacks, where they store their trailers, they did that just so they didn't have the problem with being a parking lot all by itself. That now it's associated with the Ideal Snacks, so apparently it's okay to have
Well,
a parking
because
lot.
it's an accessory use to their.
It's an
to their-
accessory
accessory
use, so that's
use to
what,
their
I mean,
property.
and that's why they did that. So they don't have code to cover it either, so it's a freestanding lot that's a parking lot.
Not trying to make the business owner a problem, and that's why we were putting it off to get through this.
We'll have to address it another time, because we
Okay,
have
that's
so many
fine.
things that need to be addressed. If we start
yeah.
trying to do it all tonight, we're not gonna make it. If somebody wants to put a parking lot somewhere, let them go to the zoning, the Board of Appeals.
Yeah, or come to you and ask you to make
Overrule it.
address it in zoning at that point, when you'll have a scenario that you'll be able to figure out some way to
Yeah.
legislate.
There's gotta be a way,
I'd
right?
rather not.
If the statute doesn't cover every darn thing in the world. Okay, so are we done with, service No?
I'll find it later. No, I'll
I don't
find
mean
it
to cut you
later.
off,
No,
because
no,
we spent a
it's-
lot of time
no,
on this.
I'm done with
We're coming
service.
down the hill here.
I'm fine with service commercial the way it is. I mean,
Okay.
we're gonna have, there's a couple other you brought up
Yeah.
to my attention at least, that we need to think about, so.
Now, the only thing I had under IC was retail establishments. Would we have a separate definition for shopping centers? Would they be covered under retail establishments? It says retail establishments, doesn't have a square footage there, so I'm assuming that a retail establishment could be any, because here it's a permitted use, retail establishment less than 7,500 square. So, as a special use, it just says retail. We didn't change that, that was what was there.
Right.
We don't need a special that includes shopping centers.
Well, that was, I guess, Dan's question, including shopping centers?
Or are they separately defined and otherwise designated as a use elsewhere?
Remember, I don't think we
Is
have
there
a definition
I
for
think there was a
shopping
definition for
centers.
shopping center,
There's
that's what I
retail.
have to
Look and
find.
see. I'll tell you in a second. That I know I can find. It's under definitions. No, we have no definition
Okay,
for
so
shopping.
retail
Oh,
establishments
up, up,
would-
up, up, up.
Center, comma, shopping.
Take it back. A group of commercial establishments planned, constructed, and managed as a total entity with customer and employee part. Yes, we do have a definition for shopping center.
So why don't we just say retail establishments including shopping centers?
Okay.
I don't care.
By the way, I think that scenario you were describing with the
It goes back to the other
thing
20,000
is
square
that.
footer.
Yeah,
That's what that is.
it's a shopping center. That's by our definition, it's a
By our
shopping center.
definition.
But there's no square footage limit on that. See, that was my thing. This would be unlimited in square footage in the IC, including shopping center. Okay, so we can include shopping center.
Yes, I would agree.
Well, I don't know where else you'd put it if you don't put it there.
Right.
In the R1 district.
And the PUD we addressed in the other law. So this is ready for you.
I'll take, you want me to make a copy of that? and give it back
Codify
to
it,
you?
or whatever you do. You send it away for our
You're gonna
seeker.
give me this?
Can you figure it out?
If I can, I'll ask you.
Yeah, but I don't have it. I'll say, look,
That's what I'm
look it
saying.
up in the book.
That's why I'm saying, I'll make a copy of it and give it back.
That sounds good.
Okay.
But in the meantime, we can get the show on the road.
Okay.
So do we need a motion to, ask him to do that, or we just tell you to do that?
You just told me to do it, I think, right? So I'll draft a local law to amend the district intent charge to be consistent with what you guys just discussed.
Well, all these other
Yeah.
things too, the zoning.
Oh, you wanna
and-
do
I
the
mean,
other-
the definitions, we did that.
That's everything in his memo you wanted to do?
That's right.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. These were his suggestions under definitions. I don't know, under definite, you got it there?
You can get it back real quick.
He would suggest the following change: delete dwelling owner occupied second story. Remember we went around and around on that? So do we now permit that in the service commercial zone? Because the definition is gonna change dwelling upper story instead of owner occupied second story. Because we wanted somebody to be able to have a store, rent out the bottom and rent out the top. But I don't know if this does that, because when we talk about where we allow them, we talk about detached dwelling. Service commercial talks about single-family detached dwellings, two-family dwellings, but it doesn't say upper story dwellings.
I thought we. I wonder what his reasoning was with changing that.
I didn't hear you, Chris.
I wonder why he wanted to change the way that was.
Well, because he wanted to be, actually, what we told him we wanted to do was create the ability to have
have
us
that.
rent out both
Right.
of them, upstairs
Right.
and downstairs. It didn't have to be owner occupied on the second story.
Right.
Unless it only applies to that other zone, the DCC zone, I don't have that in front of us.
No, we had specifically said we wanted that in the,
That it didn't have to be owner.
right.
Well, his suggestion was to change the definition rather than, but I don't think he took into account the fact that the only thing that we allow are, as far as he thought dwelling would cover it. The fact that we said it's a dwelling, we permitted a single-family dwelling, that would cover it. But I can call him and ask him again. And then we'll just have to, we all understand we wanna permit that.
Right, so we're gonna say dwelling upper story.
In
I
the
think
service
that
commercial.
defines it
In the
then.
service commercial, under permitted use.
Right.
Because that's what we all agreed on.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's probably referring to, well, he's definitely referring to the definition, okay.
And eating and drinking, we have it as eating and dining in one place, eating and drinking in another, that'll straighten that out. So we changed that too.
Yep.
Got that.
I'll make a copy of that and give it back.
All right,
One question,
Now we can
is
go
that
on.
dwelling or dwellings?
Dwelling, singular.
Singular, okay.
okay, White Sulphur Springs R1, we don't have, they're ready to go to the.
I have their map here. I have to have a conversation with Matt because I'd had the water district blown up so I could actually read the numbers. There's a lot of lots in the water district that have not been included in their list. And I think I understand why some weren't, because they're in the SC district, so they want to leave them in SC. But there's a couple on the outer reaches that are clearly in what they would intend to be R1 district that are not listed, and I'm not sure what their rhyme or reason was. But so I
Is
have
that
to get a hold of
out
Matt.
towards the Desicker?
Yeah, it's out, yeah, right here on Desicker. Because the water,
Because the water actually ends at the intersection of Desaker Road.
and here, right here.
Right, well, actually, it ends like right here.
So that would be why this lot's not included.
And they don't have any existing water. There is no water line up there at all.
But there's water here, because it's on this frontage.
Right, it gets, that's where the last pit is, right there, there and there,
Okay.
but this.
Okay, so that would be a
And
good
this
explanation
was
for that.
actually, these two pieces of property were both Max DeWash's, and they both still are, no, Max sold that, that was his original house, he lives in the corner now, just in the summer.
Okay.
So at some point, this was all one piece of property,
Mm-hmm.
and must be when they sold it, he subdivided that there.
But now we still have it included in the water district.
Well, we got a lot of that.
We haven't changed any water
Right.
district.
I know that. I'm not saying that as a question. I mean, we don't. We
There was
still
another
do it.
piece on Shore Road as well that he showed me, and we went over it, but, you know, there's,
But the property owner has the responsibility financially to take it from
Yes.
the road to its ultimate destination.
Yes.
Once it's in, we then have the responsibility of maintaining it, if I read it correctly.
We maintain our mains, we maintain our distribution lines. But From the curb,
Anything on the
from the curb cock in
out
is
everybody, is their
the
concern.
property owner.
So these big lots that are in the middle of this water district, I could really care less if they're 50 acres, because none of it, anything beyond that curb cock is not my
Right,
responsibility.
if they were to come in and for a subdivision, then they would have to build in all the infrastructure
Right.
inside of it and to our standards
And maintain
then-
it for its
and then
indefinite-
dedicate it to us in order for us to.
and like
be
if that
responsible.
person wanted water, they could get it, and we couldn't deny it to them, but they'd have to pay to get it there.
But
Well, we'd have to-
once it's in and installed, they still have the responsibility of maintaining it.
No.
We
We.
then assume the
They would
responsibility of
turn,
maintaining it.
once it was all built and installed, met our specifications, they would then turn it over to us, and then going forward, we would, then each individual lot within that new development would be responsible from the curb cock.
out, right, okay, that's what I thought. I think this is probably all because
It was all service
it's
commercial.
all service commercial, right? I think
That
that's
one
what that
take
probably
out.
means.
Like, this is all swamp.
Yep. So I think the short answer is we're really,
Close.
really close. I thought that was the answer on here, but I wasn't sure. Glad you are.
But if, just for my clarification, if a person has a piece of property that's in a water district and they want water provided to them, we have to get it on the road to them.
Yes.
They don't have to pay for 3 miles of road. If they're 3 miles up and they're in the district, we have a,
If we put them in the district, we have an obligation to get the water
get the
to their property.
to that property.
We don't have an obligation to then build it out within their property, but we've
Right.
gotta get the
Right.
water to their property.
From what Chris was saying, that looks to be the only lot where we'd
I
have that
think that
issue.
was the only one.
Because that was a master lot that was subdivided, and the subdivided lot, it does not have road frontage on 52, so they don't have water. So we're at risk for that one lot. These others would have to be, I mean, a road would have to be built for these. All these are
Yeah, this is
internal
all
lots.
field. This is a-
Yeah, these are all
yeah.
internal lots. So if somebody wanted to make this into a development someday, they're gonna have to make roads, and then
This actually
Pay for
is, most of this is all, that's all part of Goldstein's Rolling Meadows. That was never developed, but it was all probably at some point approved.
okay,
Okay,
so we're close.
close. And the parking enforcement, we'll just let it go till next month, because I thought that we would have something from,
Joey, yeah.
yeah,
Joanne.
how far she's getting with that. I know she's done a lot of work on it. I just have it on there to keep it on the table, and then we have the pilot agreement with the Village of Liberty Apartments up on Lake Street, the pilot we talked about. We
Yes.
got that from the village.
Yes.
And you know the pilot we're talking about for the, it's called Liberty Village up on, it's Belmont Associates?
Belmont Associates, yes. They had one, it expired, they wanna redo it, the proposed, and Gary Silver went through it at great length, I've reviewed it in his comments, and he was right. And the bottom line is, what they're proposing is actually they're above whatever they're offering to pay more than the minimum that they would have to pay under the federal regulations and the way you would calculate it. So it's, you know, it's an existing
They're
use.
entitled to it by, you know, if we give it to them.
If we give it
There's
to them.
statute that provides for it. The whole conversation came last year when we got this letter from the village and said, you know, sign the pilot. And I said, what pilot? You know, why are they getting it? How are they getting it? Well, we've had it explained to it, and they're entitled.
We removed the exemption.
Yeah, because they never did anything. They just kind of threw that agreement out there. And
Yeah.
assumed everybody's just gonna
So
sign
you
it and
didn't
say,
get the
okay.
board to authorize me to sign a pilot, or did the town have to do another resolution to accept the pilot?
Well, I think we were at the stage where Gary wanted to know that the town board was on board with the concept. And then we'll get the final agreement, once we get the final agreement, then I think it would be brought back to the board to approve the agreement and authorize you to sign. I mean, I'm okay if the board wants to authorize it to be signed, as long as it's acceptable in form to the supervisor and the town attorney, that's okay too.
Or,
It's entirely up to
and
you
if we
guys.
say no,
If we say no, they can come back and complain to the board, I guess. And as long as 3 of them say yeah, then I guess it's gonna get done.
because the school has to do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where they're at.
Weren't they waiting for financial statements and that from them and all that stuff?
I mean, let's face it, appears it's all legitimate, you know,
Yes.
they've documented everything.
I have no problem with that.
I don't either.
Okay.
Well, I
I don't
can
either.
make a motion to authorize,
Kenny and
supervisor to
Bruce.
sign.
The agreement is acceptable to
The
Yep.
town attorney.
I'll second that.
Tom, seconded by Dean. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. At least we got to the bottom, we know what was going on now. It's just to send me a piece of paper and sign it and give it away.
You know, that's the right thing.
So we'll go to new business. I don't remember whether we did this or not. The approval to pay the town for the,
It's the county snow and ice
Yeah.
removal contract.
I'll make that.
who signs that, me or the highway superintendent? Me.
I think you sign, I think that's up for the supervisor to sign.
And Sarah, there was a sample resolution that they sent us, the county sent us.
Yeah, I think Lori has that.
If she fills that out, and then I can sign it and send it, if I get authorization from the board to sign
Okay,
it.
I'll make a motion. to
Tommy
sign
made the
it.
motion. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. See that that gets done. We're reaffirming the vouchers on Blower Associates for $600 and number 2 and 3. And Kelly Engineering, we did this informally with 3 and we signed the vouchers already. This is reaffirming it and putting it into the minutes that we did it.
Make a motion.
Tom, seconded by Chris. All in favor? That's
Aye.
numbers 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the stipulation with Mercos, is that the one we want to go into executive session?
That's the one that we need to.
So that's gonna be executive session.
with Kathy over here.
So we're down to the short environmental assessment for introductory local law number 5 of 2013. You got that here?
Yeah, that, I think
Yep, I was in there.
Yeah,
that Lori or Sarah sent that out to everybody.
Yep.
yeah.
That was prepared by Dan Schuster. What we need to do first is we need to adopt a resolution declaring that the town board is lead agency for purposes of seeker in connection with local law number 5.
Tom makes that motion. I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now we have to.
And then the second thing you need to do is, you've had the public hearing. You've got the short environmental assessment form that Dan prepared. He prepared the part 1, which I think Charlie has
I got it,
signed.
yeah.
And then the part 2 has got he's proposed the responses to that, so I'm assuming you guys have reviewed that. And what really would need to be done, if you're in agreement with that, is to adopt that part 2 as your own, and,
With a negative
and then authorize the negative declaration.
I'll make a motion to adopt part 2 and the negative deck finding.
Second.
Second. Motion by Dean, seconded by Chris. All in favor?
Do we need to read that into the minutes, Kenny?
You wanna?
Don't we have to on the seekers, or?
No, you're okay, because you've got the secret form itself with all the finding and all the.
I've done, Chris,
detail as part
most of the
record.
time when I've done that, but we've done it already here without reading them
I
one
know
by
sometimes
one.
we have and sometimes we haven't.
If you wanna do them
No, if
one
you
by
don't have
one,
to,
I
let's
mean,
not.
you're all familiar with it, this is not
Yeah.
the first time you're seeing it here at the table.
I wanted to make sure we weren't missing something.
No, because,
It's legal, it's just a.
yeah, because
You don't
you've
have
got
to read it out loud.
No.
You know,
That's good. Keep
because
going.
you've all had it ahead of time, you've looked at it. I mean, if we were laying it on the table here, I would want you to go through it paragraph by paragraph, because I wouldn't want anybody to say that you adopted something that you had never read or understood the content of.
So with that, we're all good to take it to the county for the 239.
It's 239, and once we get to 239, you're in a position to take final action on it.
All right, so we made the motion and the seconded for the negative declaration, and we're all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Because I want to get that down to them tomorrow, because I want this to be able to be approved at our next meeting. And hopefully, they told me they could help me out with that.
Yeah, if they'll accommodate us, they're entitled to
county
30
to get
days,
it.
but if they'll accommodate us, we
But
might be able to
she
take
said we'll
this
get
up.
it down to them. So, Sarah, we need that prepared tomorrow. So I can get it down to them tomorrow.
You have it. You have to, it's the part that you have to sign.
I have it all here, but we have to print it out again because I signed it with the wrong date, because I already signed it, but now it's done. But you should, it's in here, the blank,
In your
just
computer?
just for signing it. Everybody's got it.
It's in Lori's too, because we had sent it to Lori, so it should be in her.
But I'll be in at some point tomorrow to get it printed out, sign it, and get it down to them with the 239 application, which I have. You don't need a board resolution to send in the 239.
No, you need that form.
Before we forget once again, we did not make a resolution to Stanton Corners Road.
Do what?
No we did not pass a resolution to proceed with two Stanton Corners Road.
Oh, the demolition.
Yeah,
For the
demolition.
Well, we had a public hearing on it, but we didn't make, we have to do that
Yeah.
right now.
Yep. I will make that resolution.
State it for Sarah, so she'll get it. in the
I will make a resolution that we proceed with the demolition of two Stanton Corners Road.
Resolution for
Safe
Form
harbor.
resolution.
Yeah, but do we find that it is,
Yeah, if you by adopting that form resolution, it's the next step in the process that you've got all the forms. So that's the resolution, and that's gonna have the required finding in it. It's basically reaffirmation of the prior order of the,
Yeah.
of the
And
okay,
board.
so we got a
Lori has
motion
it.
by Dean,
Yeah.
seconded by Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anything else I forgot?
You've gotta do this acceptance of the resignation of,
Yep, it's here.
Ramos.
Yep, it's coming. We did the short and environmental, and now we have to accept the resignation of Policarpo Ramos from the Town of Liberty Parks and Rec. I'll make that motion. Second? All in favor? Aye. Which leaves a vacancy, and if anybody would like to think of somebody who would like to serve on Parks and Rec, and I'll talk to the Parks and Rec people about what they might, have in mind too. So we have an opening there. Now we need a motion to go into executive session.
Yes, for the purpose of discussing pending litigation involving Mercos, what's the correct, Mercos, I can't pronounce the middle name, Chanuchin.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chris, seconded by Tom. All in favor? Aye.